So as you can see, I'm only a couple hundreds of yards away from the site, but thankfully today there isn't much of a smell. But in the past, the Environment Agency received significant reports leading to an enforcement notice for the site to be capped in December. The deadline for this notice has now passed, but the Environment Agency say after inspection, the work did not meet the requirements.
A company in Bradford has been described as the first of its kind in the country, and Amelia Shallish went to meet some of the actors.
Emily, yes. Can I come to your house?
Yes! These students are heading into the final months of their studies. They're the first group to have taken part in a new performing arts course in Bradford for people with learning disabilities and autism. Over the last 2.5 years, they've had training in theatre, dance, music and industry studies. The idea is to support students in their creativity.
Can I come to your house?
Whether that's for personal joy or a pathway to embrace their career aspiration. Floral tributes have started to appear today at the scene of a crash which took the lives of 2 people. Several others were injured in the multi-vehicle incident which took place here at the crossroads on Saturday afternoon. The details of what happened here are still being investigated, but police have said today that the victims are a 75-year-old man and an 85-year-old woman. Here in York, the council have asked residents to check in on any loose items around their home and also to plan ahead and stay safe if you're out and about. As you can see, Storm Isha is also bringing some heavy rain forecasts as well as the wind. The conditions are expected to last until 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll bring you more updates as the storm develops. The pilot was launched in 8 schools across South Yorkshire. To obtain asthma-friendly status, 80% of the staff must be trained in asthma awareness. There needs to be an asthma policy and an asthma register, and there needs to be an emergency inhaler and spacer on site. In South Yorkshire, there are now more than 70 schools that have been in touch to become asthma-friendly. But are schemes like this enough to support asthmatic children?
It is voluntary, so it relies on the school having the time and the teachers having the time to implement the Asthma Friendly Schools programme. We do think it's brilliant, but we think that more needs to be done. So there are so many children who are at risk of asthma attacks at this time of year, and we want the government to step up and invest more in respiratory care generally.
Knowing that Thomas has help on hand both at home and at school is reassuring to Beverly.
There's somebody there to help him, to guide him, to calm him down. It does make me feel so much better.
Heading down to surgery can be a very daunting experience, especially at just 7 years old. Brannon has a secret friend that's holding his hand along the way. That friend turned up at his home several weeks ago.
It's a brilliant idea. Yeah, it's really good to help him talk through what we're doing, because I've not really mentioned much about it myself. So Baggins Bear has kind of done the hard work.
Let's follow Baggins on his journey to help him understand what will happen.
Baggins Bear was introduced in Bradford Hospital to help relax and reassure young patients having surgery with general anaesthetic. Children aged 3 to 11 are invited to watch Baggins' story at home before their own big day. His new friend is waiting on the bed with a booklet and games to keep him distracted.
Yeah. Okay, so am I right to pop these name bands on you just so we all know who you are? Is that okay?
Since Baggins made his debut, on-the-day cancellations have fallen dramatically.
Pre-COVID, the numbers that we looked at was 800 children, but during that time without the pathway, we'd had 27 cancellations due to patients refusing anaesthesia. If we look at that data now, since we brought it in last November, we've now done 979 cases and only cancelled 8.
So after a few hours, Baggins and Brannon head down for surgery together, where there's a surprise waiting right outside the doors of the theatre.
Wow, look at the bit there.
The initiative costs £20,000 per year to run, and the charity would love to expand the programme across the hospital, bringing smiles to more Bradford children undergoing surgery. The show will be watched by over 10,000 students in schools nationwide, including 9 schools in Doncaster and Wakefield. The session ends with a Q&A, allowing students to learn more about the inner workings of a theatre production.
Hello, yeah.
It's a connection of everything. It's a connection of performance, writers, ideas, technicians, everything comes together and it's happening in front of you, live, that whole thing. And so especially for younger people, if they've never seen that and had that adrenaline rush of going, oh my gosh, this is happening right now. For this one moment, it's happening now. That's why we have to keep doing it. And that's why it's so great that we are able to come into schools.
Now for these students, it's time to head back to the classroom. But maybe for some, just like Mrs. Jekyll, a flame has been lit. Amelia Shallish, BBC Look North, Wakefield.